Welcome to Atlantic Hospitality Group's Allergen Training Module. This course is designed to provide you with a comprehensive understanding of the 9 major allergens recognized by the FDA, dispel common myths about food allergens, and familiarize you with our strict allergen service policy. By the end of this training, you'll have the knowledge and confidence to serve our guests safely while upholding the exceptional 5-star service standard that defines the Atlantic Hospitality Group brand. Let's start with the basics. What is a food allergy? An allergy is a chronic condition that occurs when your immune system overreacts to a harmless substance, treating it as a threat and launching an abnormal response. The allergen is any foreign substance that triggers a reaction from the immune system. These substances are usually harmless for most people, but can cause significant issues for those who are allergic. Allergens can enter the body in various ways. They can be airborne, like pollen or dust. They can be consumed through food or drinks, such as nuts or milk. And they can also cause reactions through physical contact, like touching certain plants or surfaces. Now that we understand the fundamentals of what an allergy is, let's break down what an allergic reaction actually is. So, what is an allergic reaction? Under normal circumstances, your body's immune system produces protective proteins called antibodies that attack foreign invaders like germs and pathogens that would typically make you sick. However, in an allergic reaction, your immune system mistakenly identifies a typically harmless substance, such as wheat, as a threat. Your antibodies then trigger a harmful immune system response to protect your body from that wheat. That reaction can cause inflammation in the skin, sinuses, airways, or digestive system. The severity of allergic reactions vary from person to person and can range from minor irritation to a life-threatening emergency called anaphylaxis. While most allergies can't be cured, symptoms of an allergic reaction can be reversed with immediate emergency medical attention. Allergic reactions can be frightening. Assisting an individual experiencing an allergic reaction involves quickly recognizing the symptoms associated with it. Symptoms can differ from person to person and may vary with each reaction, influenced by factors such as the amount of the allergen ingested. Allergic reactions can happen within only a few minutes or even hours after coming into contact with an allergen. Common symptoms of food allergies include hives, flushed skin or rashes, itching or tingling in the mouth, swelling of the face, tongue, or lips, vomiting, diarrhea, and difficulty breathing. Acting swiftly is essential when managing an allergic reaction. If you or a guest experience any of these symptoms and suspect allergen exposure, seek medical assistance immediately. These reactions can quickly turn fatal, and no over-the-counter medication can reverse anaphylaxis. The most effective treatment for an allergic reaction is to prevent them from happening in the first place. Understanding the types of major food allergens and the hidden dangers associated with each allergen is one of the most proactive measures you can take to prevent an allergic reaction. Though a person can be allergic to almost anything, the FDA recognizes 9 major food allergens that pose the greatest risk to consumers. As of 2023, the Food and Drug Administration's Big 9 food allergens are milk, eggs, fish, crustacean shellfish, peanuts, tree nuts, wheat, soybeans, and sesame. Both the FDA and Board of Health require extensive training and labeling to protect consumers who might have a food allergy. As a server with Atlantic Hospitality Group, it is your responsibility to know these allergens by heart and be able to identify food items that might contain these allergens. Once again, the FDA 9 major food allergens are milk, eggs, fish, crustacean shellfish, peanuts, tree nuts, wheat, soybeans, and sesame. Know them by heart yet? Each food allergen is distinctly different. To help you further understand these 9 allergens, we will break them down one by one. Let's start by taking a closer look at one of the most common allergens, milk. Milk is classified as one of the 9 major food allergens due to the potential of its protein strands to trigger an allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. The primary allergens in milk are casein, a protein found in the solid part of milk, or the curd, and whey, a protein found in the liquid part that remains after the milk curdles. What makes milk even more dangerous for allergic individuals is how widely used milk and its derivatives are in various processed foods, making it a prevalent ingredient in a multitude of everyday items. Common hidden dangers of milk include butter, cream, cheese, ice cream, baked goods, battered or fried foods, and even some salad dressings. As we dive further into our examination, we will begin to see a pattern among these 9 major food allergens. The second major allergen we will be focusing on is eggs. Eggs are classified as another of the 9 major food allergens and are so for a different set of allergenic proteins. The most common allergenic proteins in eggs are ovalbumin, ovomucoid, ovotransferrin, and lysosamine. Over 50% of the protein is found in the egg white alone. Despite this fact, separating the white from the yolk completely is impossible, meaning cross-contact is always a concern when working with eggs, and exposure cannot be prevented by substituting an egg yolk product for whole eggs. For individuals with an egg allergy, certain foods should be avoided, as they often contain hidden egg proteins. These include baked goods, breads and breaded foods, as well as egg substitutes, hollandaise sauce, pasta, and ice creams and custards. Additionally, common condiments and desserts like salad dressings, frostings, and mayonnaise may also contain eggs. An egg's ability to hide in the ingredients proves further the importance of checking the label, because there could be a hidden danger in the mix. The world of food allergies can be a frightening place. To not overwhelm you, let's keep swimming and dive into a more straightforward allergen, fish. Fish is a specific allergen classification in accordance with the FDA and the Food Allergen Labeling and Consumer Protection Act of 2004 due to the commonality and potential severity of this allergen. The primary allergen in fish is a protein called parvalbumin, which is typically only found in the muscle tissue of finned fish. Finned fish and shellfish are not closely related and do not contain the same proteins. Therefore, being allergic to one does not necessarily mean you need to avoid the other. However, extra care should always be taken to confirm the specific allergen with your guest, as individuals may be allergic to a single type of fish or multiple species. Another red flag is if a guest claims to have a seafood allergy, which lacks the specificity needed to prevent contamination. We will discuss more on this later. As you have probably begun to determine, understanding the small nuances between allergens is critical to providing better support and safety to an ocean of guests with food allergies. Crustacean shellfish allergies are also classified among the 9 most common food allergies, making it essential to understand them, especially since they are a staple ingredient across many of our menu offerings. Crustacean shellfish is the specific allergen classification in accordance with the FDA. The allergen category includes both crustaceans, which are 4-limbed shelled aquatic invertebrates, and mollusks, soft tissue invertebrates that live in an external shell. People with a crustacean shellfish allergy are allergic to a protein called tropomyosin, which is found in the muscle tissue of all crustaceans and mollusks. This means that anyone with a shellfish allergy needs to be vigilant in avoiding foods containing this protein. Individuals with crustacean shellfish allergies should steer clear of both crustaceans and mollusks. Crustaceans include lobster, shrimp, and crab. Mollusks, on the other hand, encompass a wider range of seafood such as oysters, mussels, clams, squid, and scallops. The best way to prevent an allergic reaction to crustacean shellfish is to avoid cross-contact, sanitizing hands and work surfaces, and keeping safe plates separate from those of other guests. Overwhelmed yet? Though this may seem like a lot of information, we have only begun to crack the shell on food allergies. This concludes the animal-based food allergens, with the remaining 5 plant-based allergens left to discuss. Pay attention because they can be the most tricky. Of the 5 plant-based allergens, tree nuts are among the top 2 most present in our operation. Tree nuts are a distinct allergen classification, and tree nut allergies are prevalent among nearly 5% of the general population, meaning nearly 1 in 20 individuals suffers from a tree nut allergy. Tree nuts are commonly recognized as a hard-shelled fruit with an edible interior seed that grows on a tree. Though this protein-packed snack is known for its nutritional benefit, the protein content also makes tree nuts incredibly dangerous for those with an allergy due to the risk of cross-contamination. As of 2025, the Food and Drug Administration now requires that tree nut species be included on the label next to the allergen disclaimer. Additionally, the allergen classification no longer includes 11 different and conflicting food items, such as coconut and butternut, which are technically both fruits and not nuts at all. Tree nuts are not typically cross-reactive with peanuts. Someone allergic to peanuts may not necessarily be allergic to tree nuts, and vice versa. However, it is possible for an individual to have sensitivities to both. The tree nuts that pose the highest risk of allergic reactions and are most commonly found in our operation include hazelnuts, walnuts, pecans, cashews, almonds, and pine nuts. These items should always be stored in properly labeled and sealed containers, away from other sanitized and safe workspaces. one of the three most significant food allergies among children and one of the most difficult to control are peanut allergies. Despite being frequently lumped alongside tree nuts, peanuts fall under their own specific allergen classification, and an important distinction to note is that peanuts are not actually nuts. They are classified as legumes. A legume refers to the seed-carrying pod of a plant, not a tree, which contains an edible seed called a pulse, in this case, the peanut itself, which is not classified as a nut. Other examples of legumes include beans, chickpeas, and lentils. This means that peanuts are in an entirely different family from tree nuts with their own respective allergenic proteins. However, despite being an individual allergy classification, an individual can still be allergic to peanuts, tree nuts, or both. In fact, studies show that 25 to 40% of individuals with a peanut allergy are also allergic to at least one type of tree nut. Due to the severe risk of cross-contamination and the heightened prevalence of peanut allergies in children, peanuts and crude peanut oil are rarely used within our businesses, though peanut butter can be occasionally found as a limited-use food ingredient. The most prevalent, widely used, and often misunderstood allergen across all our businesses is wheat. Wheat is another specific allergen classification, and individuals with a wheat allergy may react to any one of the four main proteins found in wheat: gluten, albumin, globulin, or gliadin. Unlike celiac disease, which is an autoimmune condition triggered specifically by gluten protein, a wheat allergy can cause a severe immune system response, including anaphylaxis, all from what could be as little as a singular crumb of wheat. Living with a wheat allergy can be extremely challenging due to its presence in a wide array of everyday food items. However, wheat can also be a hidden danger. For example, wheat is often used as a coating on prepared or fried foods, such as in flour-based batters and a thickening agent in soups and sauces. Additionally, it's important to remember that gluten-free does not mean wheat-free, so extra caution is needed when identifying safe options for those with wheat allergies. What makes wheat allergies even more challenging is that water-soluble and airborne wheat proteins can also trigger an allergic response, making the risk of cross-contact extremely dangerous, even in environments like commercial bakeries and kitchens. When it comes to managing a wheat allergy, it's crucial to be aware of the wide range of foods and ingredients where wheat is commonly found. Individuals with a wheat allergy should steer clear of several items, including bread and breadcrumbs, which often serve as the foundation for many dishes. Grains such as couscous and farro, which may not immediately appear to be wheat-based but are derived from wheat. Flour and baked goods, staples in many kitchens, pose a significant risk due to their high wheat content. Pasta and semolina, which are primarily made from wheat, should also be avoided. Breakfast cereals, which may contain wheat as a primary ingredient or as part of flavoring. Soy sauce, which surprisingly often includes wheat in its fermentation process. Various forms of starch, including food starch, vegetable starch, modified starch, and gelatinized starch, which may all contain wheat derivatives. Wheat is incredibly versatile and can appear in unexpected and surprising places, such as in sausage, potato chips, and as a coating on prepared non-wheat-based items such as French fries. So careful label reading and ingredient awareness are critical for ensuring a safe dining experience. The 8th allergen classification we will be examining is soybeans. Soybeans are classified by the FDA as one of the big 9 food allergens and, like peanuts, are a member of the legume family. While soybeans themselves are not commonly eaten directly in American diets, they are widely used in a variety of processed food products, making them a potential hidden allergen. Have you noticed the trend yet? Some of the most common sources of soy include expeller-pressed, extruded, or cold-pressed soy oil, edamame, which are young soybeans in the pod, a wide range of soy products such as soy milk, soy-based ice cream, and soy yogurt. Tamari, a type of soy sauce often used as a gluten-free alternative. Traditional soy sauce, a staple in many cuisines. Tofu, a popular plant-based protein. It is important to note that highly refined soybean oil is typically considered safe for individuals with a soy allergy as the allergenic protein is removed during the refinement process. Because of this, it is exempt from labeling laws. Concerning the presence of soybeans in our businesses, raw soybeans are not typically used as a staple ingredient on our menus. However, tamari and soy sauce are frequently utilized in different sauces and soups. Additionally, highly refined soybean oil is used for frying in some of our operations. As of January 1, 2023, sesame became recognized as the ninth major food allergen in the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act and the 2022 Food and Drug Administration Food Code. Under this legislature, sesame was recognized as the ninth most common food allergy among both children and adults in the United States, and now requires the same strict labeling protocols as the other big 8 allergens. The edible seeds of the sesame plant are a staple ingredient in cuisines around the globe, adding flavor and texture to dishes ranging from baked goods to sushi. Common foods that contain sesame include sesame flour, sesame oil, sesame paste, sesame salt, and of course, sesame seeds themselves. However, sesame can also be found in unexpected places, such as proprietary spice blends and flavorings, where it might not be immediately obvious. Sesame is a frequently used ingredient for adding texture and flavor to our dishes and is present in all 3 of our full-service concepts. This makes it essential to always check menu specifications and food labels carefully. Best practice is to ask questions and confirm ingredients to ensure the safety of our guests with sesame allergies. If you haven't noticed by now, allergies can be extremely dangerous, and life-threatening allergens can sometimes hide in plain sight. Now that we've fully explored the FDA's Big 9 food allergens, it's time to address the common misunderstandings, misconceptions, and miscommunications we often encounter from our guests. By recognizing these challenges, we can take proactive steps to ensure a safer and more enjoyable dining experience for everyone that we serve at Atlantic Hospitality Group. Let's clear up some common misunderstandings about milk and egg allergies, starting with the term dairy. Many people mistakenly believe that dairy is an allergen classification, but in reality, the allergen is termed as milk. Additionally, there is common misconception that dairy includes eggs, but that's not true. The term dairy does not include eggs. Dairy strictly refers to milk and products derived from milk, not eggs. Though they may both be found in the dairy section of your local grocer, eggs and milk contain different allergenic proteins. Remembering the type of allergenic proteins in each of the Big 9 allergens isn't necessarily important. Understanding that they all contain different allergenic proteins is. Another important common distinction to consider is the difference between lactose intolerance and a milk allergy. Lactose intolerance is a digestive issue involving difficulty breaking down lactose, the sugar in milk. A milk allergy, on the other hand, is an immune system response to milk proteins and can be life-threatening. Though not used in our operations, there is common confusion about goat's milk. Goat's milk is not a safe alternative for those with a milk allergy because its proteins are similar to those in cow's milk and can trigger the same reactions. Substituting goat cheese for cheddar cheese on your $8 hamburger will trigger an allergic reaction just the same as for those with a milk allergy. Lastly, while heat-treated milk protein, such as in baked goods, may be safe for some individuals, this tolerance varies from person to person and should only be attempted under medical guidance. If a guest states that they have a milk allergy, but that heat-treated milk is considered safe for them, please kindly refuse service of any item containing milk until your manager has consulted with the guest. Likewise, if a guest states they have a dairy allergy, ask your guest for more information as this is a misleading term. A second miscommunication that we typically see is when a guest states that they have a seafood allergy as opposed to more specifically stating that they have a fish or crustacean shellfish allergy. First, the term seafood is not a specific allergen classification for a reason. Seafood is a broad food category that could include both shellfish and finned fish, which, as we now know, are completely different allergies caused by completely different proteins. It's crucial to understand that all seafood is not the same. Additionally, cooking does not eliminate allergens in seafood, as the proteins in both fish and crustacean shellfish are heat resilient. The allergenic proteins in fish and shellfish remain a risk even after the cooking process. It's also important to know that all seafood is not cross-reactive, meaning that someone with a shellfish allergy may not be allergic to finned fish, and vice versa. Again, different proteins and different allergens. These allergies are completely independent of one another. Another misconception about fish and a crustacean shellfish allergy is about smell. While it may be unpleasant for some and could cause potential irritation, the smell of each does not trigger allergic reactions. Allergic responses typically require ingestion or direct contact with the allergenic protein, as these proteins are found in the muscle tissue and are not airborne. Lastly, an allergy to fish does not mean a person is allergic to iodine. These are completely separate issues involving different chemical compounds, and the two should not be confused. If a guest mentions having a seafood allergy, it's essential to ask for more details. Understanding exactly what they are allergic to will guide how we prepare their food, ensuring we can confidently provide them with a meal that is safe and enjoyable. Perhaps one of the most frequently misunderstood, misrepresented, and miscommunicated is the distinct differences between wheat allergies, celiac disease, and gluten intolerance. This is a big one, but we will break it down to the grain for you. It is critically important to understand the differences between these three diagnoses, as each condition is unique and requires specific attention, and confusion between the three could result in a severe medical emergency. Firstly, a wheat allergy is not the same as celiac disease or a gluten intolerance. A wheat allergy is an immune system reaction to a potential multitude of proteins found in wheat, not just gluten. This distinguishes it from gluten intolerance and celiac disease, which are specifically related to gluten and operate through entirely different mechanisms. Unlike celiac disease or gluten intolerance, a wheat allergy can be life-threatening. Symptoms may include hives, swelling, difficulty breathing, or even anaphylaxis, making it a more immediate and severe risk than gastrointestinal issues typically associated with celiac disease or gluten intolerance. However, both of these two conditions should still be treated with the same level of concern. As we previously mentioned, gluten-free does not equal wheat-free. Not all gluten-free foods are free of wheat, as some may still contain non-gluten wheat components that can trigger an allergic reaction in those allergic to wheat. Though these are three distinctly different conditions, they all demand the same level of care and caution. If a guest states that they can't have gluten, ask for more information. Does the guest have a wheat allergy, or is the request out of concern for celiac disease or gluten intolerance? Their type of dietary condition will influence what foods we can and cannot safely prepare for them. To better understand, let's further break down the triggers, responses, and treatments associated with each of these conditions. A wheat allergy is an allergic reaction to the proteins found in wheat. This triggers an immediate immune response. It's important to note that this response is rapid and potentially life-threatening and most likely requires immediate emergency medical attention. For a wheat allergy, the key treatment is complete avoidance of wheat in any form. Guests with a wheat allergy may also carry antihistamines or an epinephrine autoinjector in case of accidental exposure, as reactions can be fatal. Celiac disease, on the other hand, is an autoimmune disorder triggered by gluten protein, a protein found in barley, wheat, and rye. When gluten protein is consumed, the immune system mistakenly attacks the small intestine, causing inflammation and damage to the intestinal lining. This can lead to long-term health complications if unmanaged. Symptoms often include digestive issues such as diarrhea, bloating, and weight loss. Additional symptoms may include fatigue, anemia, and long-term risks like intestinal tissue damage if gluten is not avoided. Unlike a wheat allergy, the onset of symptoms is gradual. It develops over time with repeated exposure as the immune system gradually damages the small intestine. The only effective treatment for celiac disease is a lifelong gluten-free diet. Even small traces of gluten can cause intestinal damage and long-term health complications, so strict vigilance is essential. Finally, unlike the previous two conditions, gluten intolerance is not immune-related. Gluten intolerance doesn't involve an immune response or cause damage to the small intestine. Symptoms of gluten intolerance are usually less severe and primarily include bloating, stomach pain, diarrhea, or fatigue. Unlike celiac disease, gluten intolerance does not lead to long-term health complications. These symptoms may take longer to appear, often hours or even days after consuming gluten, making it more challenging to pinpoint the trigger. Following a gluten-free diet is primarily for relief of temporary symptoms. Unlike celiac disease or wheat allergy, small traces of gluten may be tolerable, but this varies by individual. While it may seem like an extensive focus on a single allergen, understanding the complexities and distinctions of one of the most common and misunderstood allergies, as well as similar dietary restrictions, empowers you to confidently deliver a safe and enjoyable dining experience for our guests. Now that we have developed a strong understanding of the 9 major food allergens and the common misconceptions surrounding them, it's time to review Atlantic Hospitality Group's allergy service policy. This policy is meticulously designed to establish a system of checks and balances throughout the guest experience, ensuring full compliance and eliminating any margin for error. Allergies can be life-threatening, and our commitment to safety is paramount. The Atlantic Hospitality Group Allergy Service Policy is built on 6 essential steps, starting at the guest's table. From the moment the dining experience begins, Servers are expected to ask if there are any allergy concerns that our culinary team should be aware of. It's important to create a welcoming atmosphere, as some guests may feel hesitant or uncomfortable disclosing their allergies. The server's role is to put the guest at ease. If a guest mentions an allergy, or even hints at one, always follow up with additional questions to gather more information. Once the server has confirmed that a guest has a food allergy, the server must notify the chef and manager on duty immediately. This step ensures that the manager and chef can oversee the dining process, eliminating any risk of allergen exposure during food preparation and service. Communication is critical, but so is documentation. The third step involves documenting the allergy accurately in the point-of-sale system. The server must use the allergen alert modifier and select the specific allergen from the provided list. If the allergen isn't listed, they should include it in the memo field of the ordered item. Precision at this stage is vital for a safe dining experience. This step also allows for our management team to review a past ticket to ensure that the allergen service policy was followed accordingly. Even though the manager has already informed the kitchen about the allergen, the server must personally call out the order to the chef on duty. This ensures that the note on the ticket was received, understood, and acted upon. If the kitchen cannot prepare the dish safely due to allergen concerns, the server should collaborate with the manager and guest to recommend an alternative menu item that can be safely enjoyed. It is important to note that the chef and manager have extensive food safety training. For this reason, it is not acceptable to simply call the order to a food runner or a line cook. Once the dish has been carefully prepared, it's the manager's responsibility to serve the plate. Before handling the dish, they should always wash their hands and, if required, wear new, uncontaminated disposable gloves and serve the dish separate from other plates as to prevent possible cross-contact. Finally, when delivering the meal, the manager must confirm the allergy with the guest one last time. For instance, if the guest has a sesame allergy and ordered the North Atlantic salmon, the manager should say something like, "This is the North Atlantic salmon, no sesame," to ensure nothing was missed or misunderstood before the guest handles the dish. By following these 6 steps, we can provide a safe and enjoyable dining experience for all our guests. As we wrap up this important training, let's discuss 6 essential best practices for managing food allergies and ensuring the safety and comfort of our guests. Practice kindness. Always approach guests with empathy. Dining out can be stressful for those with food allergies, so create a welcoming environment that makes them feel safe and cared for. Practice patience. Allow your guests the time they need to share their allergies with you. If something isn't clear, ask questions and make sure you fully understand their concerns before proceeding. Practice honesty. Be upfront and transparent with your guests. If you're unsure about something, don't guess. Consult with the kitchen or your manager to provide the information they need to make a safe choice. Practice accuracy. Ensure that all menu details are clear, simple, and up to date. As a server with Atlantic Hospitality Group, it is your responsibility to know the menu thoroughly, so you can provide informed answers and guide guests safely through their dining experience. Practice food safety. Whether you're cooking on the line, plating food, or delivering a dish, always handle food with care. Prevent cross-contact by creating a safe space for allergen-free dishes to remain untouched by other items. Stay current. Keep your allergen training and certifications up to date. Policies and best practices evolve, and staying informed ensures you can always provide the highest standard of service. And finally, remember, allergies can be fatal. Call 911 at the first sign of an allergic reaction. Over-the-counter medications can't stop anaphylaxis, but your quick action can help save a life. Thank you for your commitment to prioritizing safety, precision, and care in every guest interaction. Together, we can create an exceptional dining experience for all of our guests at Atlantic Hospitality Group.